The words hit me like a cold wave crashing over my head, leaving me breathless and disoriented in the middle of the bustling warehouse office. "You're suspended, Yusuf. Effective immediately. We can't have this kind of disruption during work hours." My boss, Mr. Thompson, stood there with his arms crossed, his face a mask of stern disapproval, as if I'd committed some grave offense. All I'd done was step away for 5 minutes to perform my afternoon prayer in a quiet corner of the break room, away from the forklifts and conveyor belts. The suspension notice in his hand felt like a betrayal, a judgment not just on my actions, but on who I was, a Muslim man trying to balance faith and livelihood in a place that suddenly felt hostile. What stung most was the unspoken accusation in his eyes, the way he glanced at my prayer mat as if it were a threat. I wondered then, heart pounding, if this was the end of my job, my stability, and how I'd explain it to my family without crumbling. But little did I know, this moment of injustice would lead to something unimaginable, a twist that would turn everything around. My name is Yusuf Ali, and I've been working at Apex Logistics for 8 years, ever since I immigrated from Jordan, with dreams of building a better life for my wife, Fatima, and our 2 young children. Apex is a massive distribution center on the outskirts of Chicago, handling everything from electronics to pharmaceuticals, with trucks rumbling in and out like clockwork. I started as a loader, hauling boxes until my back ached, but I worked my way up to inventory specialist because I had a knack for spotting discrepancies in the system, little errors that could cost the company thousands if left unchecked. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, and I took pride in it. Faith has always been my anchor. Praying 5 times a day keeps me grounded, reminds me of humility and purpose amid the chaos of shifts and deadlines. That fateful day began like any other. The warehouse hummed with activity, beeps from scanners, the whir of machinery, shouts echoing off metal shelves stacked high with pallets. I'd just finished auditing a shipment of medical supplies when the call to prayer echoed softly in my mind. It was duhur time, around midday, and I knew I had a brief window during my lunch break. I slipped into the break room, unrolled my mat facing Mecca, and bowed in quiet reflection. It was nothing new. I'd been doing this discreetly for years, and most coworkers didn't bat an eye. Some even respected it, like Elena from accounting, who'd once asked curious questions about Ramadan with genuine interest. But Mr. Thompson had been watching. He was a no-nonsense type, in his 50s with a perpetual frown etched from years of managing tight margins and union disputes. Lately, tensions were high at Apex. Rumors swirled about financial troubles, delayed shipments, and whispers of layoffs. I sensed his stress, but I never imagined it would target me. As I finished my prayer and rolled up the mat, he burst in, flanked by HR rep Karen, who looked uncomfortable, avoiding my gaze. "Yusuf, this has to stop," he said, his voice clipped. "We've had complaints. People say it's distracting, and frankly, it looks unprofessional. We're a business, not a, well, you know." I stood there, heart racing, feeling the heat rise to my face. "Complaints? From who, Mr. Thompson? I've always done it on my break, and it doesn't affect my work. My productivity is one of the highest in the department." He waved a hand dismissively. "It's not about productivity right now. It's about company policy. No religious activities on premises during operational hours. You're suspended for a week without pay. Use the time to reflect." Suspended. The word echoed in my ears as I gathered my things, my colleagues whispering in the background. I felt eyes on me, some sympathetic, others judgmental. Was it because of my faith? Or was there more to it? I'd heard murmurs before, post-9/11 echoes that never fully faded, where a beard or a name like mine raised suspicions. But at Apex, I thought we were past that. Driving home that afternoon, the Chicago skyline blurring through my windshield, I gripped the steering wheel tightly. How would I tell Fatima? She worked part-time as a teacher's aide, and with bills piling up, mortgage, kids' school supplies, groceries, we couldn't afford this setback. At home, our modest apartment in a diverse suburb smelled of Fatima's cooking, spiced rice and lentils wafting from the kitchen. She greeted me with a warm smile that faltered when she saw my expression. "Yusuf, what's wrong? You're home early." I sank onto the couch, the weight of the day pressing down. "I got suspended for praying at work." Her eyes widened in shock, then filled with quiet anger. "That's not right. They can't do that. It's discrimination." "I know, but what can I do? File a complaint? Risk losing the job entirely?" My voice cracked. Our son, Umar, 8 years old and full of energy, bounded in from his room, oblivious. "Baba, look at my drawing." He held up a crayon sketch of a mosque, innocent and proud. I forced a smile, hugging him, but inside, turmoil churned. That night, as I lay awake, prayers whispered under my breath. I wrestled with doubt. Was my faith a burden here in America? I'd come for opportunity, but moments like this made me question if I'd ever truly belong. The suspension dragged on, each day a mix of anxiety and forced routine. I helped Fatima with household chores, took the kids to the park, and volunteered at the local mosque, where Imam Karim offered words of wisdom. "Patience, Yusuf. Allah tests those He loves. Your dignity will shine through." His encouragement bolstered me, but bills loomed. I considered reaching out to a lawyer, but fear held me back. What if it backfired? Meanwhile, back at Apex, things were unraveling. I didn't know it then, but during my absence, a major crisis brewed. The company handled sensitive shipments, including pharmaceuticals for hospitals across the Midwest. I'd been the one double-checking inventory logs, noticing patterns others missed. Without me, errors slipped through. It started small, a mismatched batch number on a delivery manifest. Then, reports of delayed trucks, suppliers complaining about discrepancies. Mr. Thompson, under pressure from corporate, scrambled to fix it, but the problems escalated. One evening, as I scrolled through my phone at home, a news alert popped up. Apex Logistics under investigation for supply chain irregularities. My heart skipped. The article mentioned potential tampering with medical supplies, something about counterfeit drugs infiltrating the system. I froze. Counterfeit? That couldn't be. But then memories flooded back. Months ago, I'd flagged unusual patterns in our supplier logs, shipments from a new vendor that didn't match quality specs. I'd reported it to Mr. Thompson, but he'd brushed it off as a glitch, saying we needed to keep things moving to meet quotas. "Don't overthink it, Yusuf. We've got deadlines." I'd persisted quietly, documenting everything in my personal notes, but with the suspension, I'd left it behind. Panic set in. If counterfeits were involved, lives could be at stake. Hospitals relying on those meds for patients. I couldn't stay silent. Despite the risk, I called Karen from HR, my voice steady. "I need to speak with Mr. Thompson. It's urgent. About the inventory issues." She hesitated. "Yusuf, you're suspended." I need to speak with Mr. Thompson. It's urgent. About the inventory issues." She hesitated. "Yusuf, you're suspended." I can't. "Please. This could save the company." After a tense pause, she connected me. Mr. Thompson sounded harried. "What is it, Ali? Make it quick." I explained everything. The patterns I'd seen, the vendor anomalies, my documented evidence. "I have files at home, backups. If counterfeits are in the mix, we need to trace it back before it explodes." Silence on the line, then a sigh. "Come in tomorrow, early." The next morning, I arrived at Apex, nerves taut like wires. The warehouse felt different, tense, with federal inspectors milling about, clipboards in hand. Mr. Thompson met me in his office, looking worn, dark circles under his eyes. "Show me what you've got." I pulled out my laptop, displaying spreadsheets and emails I'd saved. There it was. Inconsistencies in batch codes, unusual delivery times, even a pattern of overrides in the system that pointed to internal sabotage. See here? This vendor's shipments always bypassed standard checks. I tried to flag it, but... He rubbed his temples. I remember. I thought it was nothing. God, if this is real. It was. As we dug deeper with the inspectors, my data revealed a scheme. A mid-level supervisor, desperate for bonuses, had colluded with a shady supplier to cut corners, swapping genuine meds for fakes to pocket the difference. The evidence was ironclad. Thanks to my meticulous records. By afternoon, the culprit was identified and escorted out. The inspectors praised my work. This could have been disastrous. Tainted drugs in hospitals? You averted a catastrophe, Mr. Ali. Mr. Thompson stood aside, watching. When the room cleared, he approached, voice low. Yusuf, I misjudged you. The suspension, it was wrong. I let stress and prejudices cloud my judgment. I'm sorry. I met his gaze, feeling a surge of quiet strength. Apology accepted, but it's not just about me. It's about respecting people's beliefs. Faith isn't a disruption, it's what keeps us honest. He nodded, humbled. You're reinstated, with back pay, and a promotion. Inventory manager. We need someone like you at the helm. Word spread quickly. Co-workers clapped me on the back, Elena hugging me tearfully. You saved us all, Yusuf. Even those who'd whispered before now looked at me with respect. At home that night, Fatima beamed as I recounted it all. See, your patience paid off. Omar and our daughter Sarah listened wide-eyed, proud of their Baba. In the end, what started as a painful suspension became my greatest triumph. It wasn't just about saving the company, it was about proving that dignity and faith could overcome injustice. I walked taller now, knowing that truth had prevailed, and perhaps in some small way, I'd changed hearts along the way.